herself is, I put the time in, and I'm not getting the results for what I feel like I put in. So the fact is, yeah, you may even put the time in, but the truth of the matter is, listen, honey, run.
Right. And I think that's very true, because what happens when you're walking in that much deception, you begin to create this false reality, and you are like the only one who's believing it. And anybody that comes against it, you're like, you're crazy, you don't understand. So that can be a very scary place. So how about for you, Pastor Kim? What is the number one thing you've seen women be deceived by, and how can they guard against it?
Well, I think that we can thank Hollywood for a lot of the deception, because we all want a man like Richard Gere and Pretty Woman. We all want that Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire. You know, we always are looking at these fairy tale relationships and seeing where it was the damsel in distress or that woman, and then that man came into the picture and he just filled all the broken voids in her life, and it was this and it was that, and it was awesome. And you know, we think that if I can get a man to love me, then I will become complete and whole as a person. The deception is that women need a man, when in fact, according to the order of scripture, it was Adam who was in need of a woman. And Genesis 3 takes us through the creation of a man, and the fact that God spoke and said, it is not good that man should be alone. Yet we are out there trying to hunt, and we really are the one being hunted. I always say this, that when God created Adam, he created Adam because he wanted to. But when he created Eve because he had to. Because, man, we bring forth life. We are, you know, if a woman could ever find that place, we are in this world now where it's like the deception of we can't be a good submitted wife and be a CEO or own our own company, or you know, be a boss girl. We gotta let every man know I don't need no man. I did it, y'all. For 17 years, I told a dude I don't need no man, and I woke up one day and didn't have one. So, you know, I think the deception is that we can't be powerful, we can't be strong, we can't cook supper, wash our husband's underwear, take care of him, and still be a powerful person. You can be all that. And the greatest thing about a woman is, man, they don't seem like a man with a paper cut. You better call the emergency, right? But a woman, man, God built us with power and that and strength that we can have babies and then go back to work in 2 or 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can grow life. And so I think the deception with the world is that it's got to be like a Pretty Woman or a Jerry Maguire situation, you know, and we're just going to be, no, man, we can still be that man's good thing and powerful and be awesome. So I think the deception that I look at is women think it's either one way or the other. There's never no happy medium where we're just all that in a bag of chips, man. What?
Absolutely.
That's super good. No, it's good. And I even just listening to you, what I felt is like, you know, embrace your femininity. You know what I'm saying? I think in the world, it's really been attacked, our femininity and who we are. And we're looking for, you know, the world to define that, when the world isn't the one who created us, God did. So if we go back to the word of God and embrace who we are and begin to, you know, place it in our lives and walk out of it, then yes, we can be that super woman, but at the same time, be vulnerable and be kind and be able to flow out of that. So that is powerful. That was great. Yes. How about you, Apostle K?
All right, so with my experiences, one of the greatest level of deception that I've come across is where women believe that marriage is going to make them happy and bring fulfillment into their lives when they're dissatisfied or when they're lonely. And what I try to get people to understand is that marriage cannot fix anyone's problems. No matter how successful you want your marriage to be, your marriage will never be better than you. And so I try to explain that often when people think that marriage, and let me backtrack and say this, you know, you have to feed the nature before the function. And so you have to feed the nature of a person. People is what you bring yourself into a marriage. Marriage doesn't fix you. The state of your marriage is never going to be better than the state of the people who are joining together. And so one of the things I often tell people is you have to pursue your singleness. Just like Kim was talking about with Adam. Adam was a single man. He was about his work. he had everything together. And then at the time where he was fully single and ready, God looked at him and said that he in so many words, that it was not good for him. It's not good for this man to be alone. And so, you know, I explain to people that, you know, you are unfit for marriage if you go into marriage thinking that it's going to fix a problem or a void in your life, or if you're lonely or you're dissatisfied or you have low self-esteem. You're going to be bringing all that into the marriage, and you as a person will make the marriage what it is. The marriage won't make you do anything better than what you already are. So I think people need to go through greater levels of preparation before they get in marriage, because when a person goes into a marriage like that, it actually causes a lot more heartache, a lot more pain. And as a matter of fact, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, Paul talks about how marriage brings many troubles. So now you're going into an institution where you think is going to make you happy and bring fulfillment, and you got all these daydreams about walking on the sand and walking on the beach and all this nonsense that marriage is not even all about. I mean, you have those moments, but it's warfare. You got two people who are completely different, got completely different ways of thinking, ways of living, two different experiences, two different histories, two different households that you come from, all kind of issues, trauma, and all kind of things. And you bring them together with someone who thinks that this is going to make them happy. And as a matter of fact, it's actually going to bring more conflict and more problems. And if you're not prepared for that warfare, then you can cause, you know, yourself to be in more misery than you've ever been. And I recently had someone come to me and say, hey, how can I fix my marriage? You know, I want to fix my marriage. I was like, you can't fix a marriage. A marriage doesn't have a power to fix anything that's happening in your world. You got to fix you. Yeah. You have to fix yourself. Hello. Because you are the person that makes up this marriage, and you can't fix him. So all you have the power to do is fix you and change you and change the things that are going on within you. And when you change you, then the marriage will be what it is. And so the biggest thing that I've noticed is that women who feel like that there's a void, or, you know, they feel like this just idea. And sometimes it's more about the idea of marriage than it is even, you know, the work that it, you know, they're not really looking at the work that it takes to make a marriage what it is, but they're just looking at the idea of it. And I think Kim hit it right on the nail. Hollywood has done this, and Disney and all these imaginary fake, you know, illusions and stories and stuff that end, you know, so wonderful. And it's just not reality. It's just not reality. And so I think that God has prioritized singleness first. You remember, even when they came to Jesus asking him about divorce, he took them backwards and said, hey, in the beginning, I created them male and female. And so God began to separate the two and address that I created them male and female. This is a person, this is a single person, this is a single person. From man came male and female. And so the issue is that there's just not enough single people getting married.
Yeah.
And I think even when people are married, they still need to pursue singleness, because then there's codependency and all this dysfunction that happens, and you're looking for him to solve your issues. And you're gonna, you know, one of the things that people have to realize is marriage will expose all of that. Yeah. It doesn't cover it. It doesn't fix it. It actually exposes it.
Microscope.
It puts a microscope on you as a person. And so you still, within the marriage, still have to pursue singleness.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. And I think, like, even for me personally, you know, one of the things that I have seen, and it even kind of piggybacks on what Apostle K was talking about, is just kind of, and Pastor Kim and Phineka, about, you know, love being able to answer everything, answer every problem, answer every issue, to where what I've learned is that, you know what, love is literally a choice. And I heard that before, you know what I'm saying? But when you are literally in a relationship and in marriage, and you're having to choose love versus, you know, just feeling it, I believe that, you know, whenever I talk to young women, or even like a young married couple, and encouraging them, is that something that I tell them is that, hey, it's not a fairy tale. I was just actually had lunch with someone who's about to get married, and I was telling her, you know, the reality of what it takes. And it wasn't to scare her, but it also helps her to see that, hey, love, I don't want to say it's not enough, but you're going to need more than that. And that goes into what Apostle K said about pursuing your singleness. So if you're intentional with that and you begin to, walk in your own identity and you know who you are, you have passions, you have hobbies, you have desires, that helps you to stay out of that place of making your future husband your God. Okay. And all those different things. So this is power-packed information, ladies. Anybody else want to add anything?
I think, a lot of times women think they are more prepared for marriage than they really are. You know what I mean? Just because of what society has said. And I'm a certain age and my biological clock is ticking. And, so let me just take that, whatever next Joe, he look at my way, he must want to get married. Let's get married, boo, whatever. And a lot of times when I listen to these women talking, I just be like, man, you selfish, man. You couldn't do this. Just the sacrifices that it takes for women. I told somebody the other day, if someone called me to go minister, I have to braid 4 heads. I have to cook meals and prepare and store and separate. I have to lay out clothes and say, these socks right here, this go with this outfit. I have to put the date on it because listen, he don't even know what a sock is. But if he goes somewhere, he just get in the, I pack his bag and he get on the plane and he go. It doesn't work like that. And we have to know how to be all of those things. And there's some things that we can work on in our singleness. And it is okay. And I think, we have to pump the brakes. I saw somebody put a comment on the post on Facebook was like, I'm so sick of everybody talking about, women coming over here talking about, this is the 12 steps to get married. No, I said, no, you must don't know what this is about. This is not what we're talking about. We're saying there are things that you need to do to work on you before you get in marriage. And we're telling you the pitfalls that I'm gonna speak for me, that I succumbed to because there were some things your girl wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? But boom, I'm out there, and it was the only job training. But there's some things I don't want people to go through some of those things. And so I'm saying, hey, like Apostle K, slow your roll, enjoy your singleness, learn some things about you, get that credit together, get that attitude together. Can you share? There's a whole lot of things, because what people say now is, if it ain't 50-50, I don't. And sugar, you don't want to get married, because I promise you, it's going to be more like 80-20. If I'm sick, I still got to cook. He's sick, he could cover his head up, lock the door, don't want to hear from the kids, don't want to see the kids. I'm sick, nose running, I'm cooking a full-course meal. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say he's sorry. I'm just saying, usually more times women give more, you know what I'm saying, than they get in some regards in marriage, than what you feel like you get back. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have a heart. If I do this, you better do this back. For everything I do in this house, you better do something back. No, sure, they don't work like that.
Yeah. Awesome. This is good information. It's reality. We are all married women, so we know what she's benefiting out. Huh? Awesome.
I said the single women have benefits. There are benefits. I love marriage, and I honor it and I promote it. But we're saying that there are benefits to being single, and some people are more unhappy when they get married because they wasn't prepared. Stay single while you can, and do all you can, and work on yourself, and reap those benefits.
Yes. And there's benefits to each season, single and being married. Absolutely. All right, guys. So this was great. I see everybody is interacting in the chat room. They are saying that you guys are telling the truth. You better tell it. Singleness is time for preparation. So true. I love it. Thank you guys for the interaction. All right. Okay. So now I want to go into us sharing our own personal experience. So Pastor Phineka, what is your own personal experience with deception, and how did you overcome and learn to guard against it?
Well, it was something that I hit on earlier, in the sense of, at this time, I was already in ministry, right? Full-fledged ministry. I mean, college ministry. I was running that sucker like a full-fledged ministry. Every week, lights, camera, action, praise team, all of that. I ended up getting pregnant by the drummer, okay, of the ministry that I was over. And, it was one of those things, am I going to hurry up and get married and cover this thing up? And, you know, and people say, man, y'all need to get married. No one would ever know. You just do it real quick. You know, his dad was a well-known pastor. So it was like one of them things like, oh, shoot, you know, I come from a family like, oh, if you don't do this, then you done shamed our name. Like you're cut off, you know, from our family. And the truth of the matter is, I almost believe the lie from people. You know, people say, oh, you have ruined your life. You did ministry. Oh, you will never do ministry again. No one would ever call you. You fail like this. You fail like this publicly. Okay? You fail like this. You think anybody else gonna call you? And all of those pressures started to close in on me. And I said, my life must be over. So you know what? I'm going to cover this thing up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and have a real quick wedding. And bam, we married. You know what I'm saying? There was not going to be any warning because I had let people talk me into saying, this is something that you need to do if you want to right this wrong. Because, you know, where I'm from, you know, the folks call your children bastards. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be out here with this baby and the baby is uncovered, you know, and this was something that I was told my whole life in my family. And so literally my grandparents was like, hey, what you gonna do? Because if y'all ain't married, don't ever call. I'm telling you, they ain't buy a diaper of milk. And this is nothing against them because, you know, we're good. But I almost walked down the aisle with somebody because I had believed the lies. I knew we wasn't good for each other. And I'm not on here to bash this brother because he's a good brother. I mean, we see each other now, we'll laugh. You'll be like, dang, y'all got kids. Me, him, my husband, we went out to eat, you know. I mean, we're good. However, we were not good for each other. And it was so bad because I was feeding into the lies so bad to God had to make it so bad for me until I had no other choice but to get out. I mean, this is a brother I had, excuse me, y'all, been with for years. This is a brother that we almost got into fist fights. I mean, I done bust the brother's mouth open, had to get stitched, all types of dumb stuff, right? Trying to force something that shouldn't be. Because when you do that, you're angry with each other because you cannot satisfy the need that I have. And you're not doing the things that I expect you to do. So now I'm frustrated with you. I'm frustrated with you, but I'm frustrated with the choice of the deception of saying, this is something I have to do to fix it. This is something I have to do to cover it up. And I'm telling you, that's why a lot of times people be frustrated in marriages. They're frustrated in relationships because you mad because that sister, that brother is not he's not David down the street. You didn't put your man together. He was like this and he looked like this and he was as tall as the third guy I dated. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't put all of these things together and we say, well, maybe I just, you know, I'm just gonna go on. I'm just gonna go on and get married because it's the right thing to do. But is it the right thing to do when it's with the wrong person? And so I had to say, am I going to let my, you know, what people thought about me, my, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, just what people thought of me, or am I going to go on with this marriage? And at the 9th hour, I'm talking about, we already got a ring, ma'am. I'm already spoiled. People already know I'm getting married. So at the 9th hour, I had to say, you know what? This ain't, bruh, this ain't good, you know? And, you know, a lot of people have stuff to say. And I tell people now, if you can get past the whispers, if you can get past the gossip about you, and if you can get past the slander, listen, because I promise you, when your day comes, and I know this ain't about deception, but I'm talking about how God restores some things when people have counted you out there that you won't ever get a good man because you already messed up your life and you believe the deception and you say, I should get a man. Oh, no. I am living proof. God will still give you his best, even when you feel like you messed up, because there's nothing that you can do to make God take his hands off of you. Yeah. And that is the beauty of it.
Yes, that is beautiful. And just to hear how God has restored her and how she did go through a moment of having to overcome her past and even work through, you know, feeling ashamed, but instead of, you know, going back to what she felt or allowing her feelings and emotions to overtake her, you know, God's truth and heart towards her, she made a decision and said, hey, you know what? Marriage is a life-altering decision, okay? Marriage is not just like, okay, I'm going to marry you. Okay, you know, I don't like you anymore, so I'm going to go do this. No, marriage, it has the power. It has the power to change your whole life. So that is powerful, Pastor Phineka, of just how God has restored you, and even just giving us wisdom of how we can guard our heart. And what I got was, stop trying to please people. Allow God's voice to be the loudest voice and not the whispers of man. Because if you think about it, it's really whispers, annoying voices that come to challenge who we really are. Amen. So that is powerful. Awesome. Good information. I'm being blessed personally. Yes. So how about you, Pastor Kim? What is your personal experience of overcoming deception? Oh, sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. How about you, Apostle K? What is your own personal experience with deception, and how did you overcome it?
Okay. So for me, I felt like I was more like Jesus than my husband.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just being honest. Sometimes you go into a relationship feeling like I'm nicer, I'm kinder. I felt like his personality was so shrewd and so aggressive that I wanted him to be like me. Because I felt like I'm God. I know the right way that you should be. And so I really thought that I could change his personality and change him and fix him up to be the way I wanted him to be. And of course, that deception set in strong, because really the more you try to fix a person in a relationship, the more there's resistance, first of all. And then sometimes you'll even provoke them to have resistance towards God just because of the way you're treating that person. And what I had to learn to do, I mean, there were so many just instances where, you know, I would become self-righteous, and I didn't even know that I was being self-righteous with him and trying to fix him and trying to make him the way I wanted him to be. And I was seeing things through the eyes of a woman. I'm seeing things through the eyes of what my wants are, and not necessarily what God's will was for his life and for how, whatever his journey was going to look like. And so I had to come into a greater understanding of truth, because I realized that it was prideful. I was stepping in the way of being God. And it's a lot of people who get, you know, they're dating a guy and they feel like, well, it's okay that they're this way. When we get into the marriage, I'll fix them. You know, I'll make sure that he gets this way, or I'll, you know, do whatever to make sure that he gets to where I want him to be. And so they settle, not knowing that that's who he is. And a lot of times it's certain things that's not going to change about, you know, obviously we all change, we all evolved, and God is able to reach us. But it wasn't him that was the problem. It was really me and my self-righteousness and my pride and me feeling like I was better than God, with trying to put him on a path of change and evolution in my timing and the way I wanted it to be. And really, God had to speak to me one day and let me know that he placed his personality there for him because of his assignment. And I had to get a greater revelation of the kind of aggression he had because of the kind of warfare that his life would involve. And so I had to repent, because what happened was that deception had got in my heart, where I really did think that I was like the sunshine. I felt like I was the sunshine, and when he came in, he was like the moon that kind of covered over this, you know, and I need to kind of bring him into some different ways. But I thank God that God actually showed me my heart in that, because God knew what he was doing with him. God knew that he made his personality aggressive, and that, you know, we supplement one another, you know, with just our personalities. And so and then the other problem was that if you're taking so much energy to try to fix your mate, then there's not really a lot of space for unconditional love, mercy, acceptance, all the things that beautify a marriage. And so I was void of those things. And so I had to go on a journey, first of all, to understand and to learn what it is that he needed, and not just what I wanted. And I had to understand I can't just fix him on my own terms, because that was causing just a lot of chaos in our marriage to try to do that. And so in a marriage, this is not about me demanding my rights for him to be the way I want him to be in the time and I want, but this is not a contract. This is a covenant. And this is a union where you don't demand your rights. You lay down your life. You lay down your rights to love a person just the way they are. And so when I began to do that, beknownst to me, I started to get back the reward of that just from journeying through and learning. And it was so difficult because when that pride is there, when you really think that you have all the answers for your mate to be the way you want them to be, when that pride is there, it's very deep, and God has to really break you in order for you to really see yourself in the picture and learn that it's me that needs to change. It's not him that needs to change. It's me that needs to change. And so I went through a discovery. I went through understanding, and learning about what men need. And I even remember reading this book on love and respect. And I remember going straight to the pages where it was all about the man having to fix things. And I actually skipped over the part where I needed to learn things. But that thing dealt with me so bad. I had to really repent, because it's one level of deception when a lie penetrates your mind, your thinking, your intelligence. But it's another thing when the lie enters into your heart. Because then what happens is, and I'll tell you how I had to overcome this, because I really had to get renewed in my mind. Because when a lie will penetrate your heart, the heart is the place of your identity. So when deception takes root in your heart, then it's even when you're trying to think yourself out of it, the mind will go to bat to protect what's in the heart. The unrenewed mind will go to bat to protect what's in the heart. So I had all kind of justifications to why he needed to be the way I needed him to be. And that's what happens even in crazy relationships, where you lose your intelligence, you lose your sense of just common sense, because deception has taken root in the heart. And this is why women will justify even being in abusive situations, or the fact that they're paying all the bills and while he's at home being a bum in a relationship, even before marriage. Oh, well, they justify it because it's taken root in the heart. And so when that thing took root in my heart, I had to renew my mind, and an unrenewed mind doesn't have the capacity to know God's will for a person. I want to read the scripture, Romans 12:2 talks about renewing the mind, and it says, don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good and pleasing and perfect will. And so it's saying that a mind that's renewed will be able to discern the will of God. And so I'm not able to discern the will of God for my husband's life and flow in the will of God, and flow in the same vein, and flow in the same love, and flow in the same mercy, and flow in the same acceptance, and flow in the same forgiveness. I'm not able to do that without a renewed mind. So I knew that I had to renew my mind to make sure that I was able to understand God's will, and then I can marry that, and I can team up with that and be the wife that he calls me to be. Because outside of that, I was the one that was in error for the way I was behaving in the marriage. And so I know that a lot of people deal with that, where if their husband, their spouse, their whoever that person is that they're with, if they don't like the way they are because they're different, and that's a whole journey of accepting difference. But if they don't like the way they are, they try to fix them. They step in, they become God, they become self-righteous, they bring religion and they bring scriptures in the relationship, and they use it and they extract love, because the moment you extract love from the scripture, it is no longer truth. So you can fight with scriptures, you can fight and think that going to help them, but once love is extracted and you're doing it by playing religious games, it's no longer truth. It no longer has any power to really influence your partner, but it actually provokes resentment from you and from God. So I would say that was my journey, and that was an eye-opening experience. This happened early on in our marriage. Thank God I didn't take 50 million years to figure this out. God broke me early on, and from then now I know how to I'm still growing, but I know better how to influence him, and he knows better how to influence me. And we realize he can't fix me and I can't fix him. It is what it is. That's the reality of it. And sometimes it just takes the Lord to reach people with things that you don't like about them. And then there's just some things you're just going to have to accept, and you're just going to have to love, because that's what covenant is all about. And that's why people need to be careful when they enter into covenant. And by the way, I have an amazing marriage, and he's an amazing man, and he has flourished. We both have flourished together, and I'm just excited that I yielded to God and what God was doing with us.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And one of the main nuggets I got out of your personal journey is the renewing of our minds. And I believe that that's what's taking place this evening, is that our minds are being renewed so that we can have what's needed in our heart. Amen. And that we have to give our minds to the Lord and allow him to renew it in order to not be deceived. So that is powerful. Yes, Pastor Kim, what is your personal experience, and how can you help people to guard against it?
Well, I'm going to go from the dating aspect of it. You know, it doesn't matter how great of a woman you are, you're never going to be good enough for a man that ain't ready. So, you know, you can go to the gym, you can lose your back boobs, you can put yourself in 10 spanks, you can let your hair grow out down your back. If a man ain't ready, you better see the red flags. We pray so often for God to give us red flags, and then when he gives us these red flags, we ignore them and start praying for him to change the red flags. Because somewhere in there, man, we're starting a biological clock. We're the only one going to the family reunions, and there's, you know, the loudmouth chunky black aunt pitching our cheeks, telling us, you ain't never gonna get married. I think you need to lower your, you know, she got your cheeks by the head, and you're sitting there with all these people, you know, married, and you're being told that you're never gonna get married. And so it makes you starting to say, you know what, maybe I could take on projects, because we as women, we're fixers, you know, we can juggle kids, we can juggle job, we can juggle ministry, we can juggle. But the problem is, you got to realize that you fall in love with their charisma, but you got to live with their character. That character thing you better pay attention to, because you're sitting here dating, he's in church by you every weekend, they're just shouting the house down, and the minute he gets you in a car, he's over there trying to fill up on you and do things, you know, and you're over there saying, well, he's a man of God, and you're allowing your morals to come down, and you're allowing yourself to be deceived. And you've got to get to that place where you realize you are not created to be a man is not your project. Because when God ordered a house, you need a man that knows how to pray for you, P-A-R, and not P-R-E-Y on you. Because when something's going wrong, honey, I'm gonna tell you something about women. We can fuss at Eve for this. In fact, when we get to heaven, one of y'all can punch her, or I'll do it for you. But that woman made us crazy. You know what I'm talking about? Every 28 days, our head starts spinning, and we see that little twerk that my husband's got this. Like, what are you doing? Like, every 28 days, all of a sudden, there's this little thing he's got, and it ain't near that bad, but 28 days, it's really bad. And I needed a man that was going to be at that place where he was not my project, but he was the man of this house, where he could pray for me. He could wrap his arms around me and be like, Lord, my wife is going through some premenopausal right now. She might freeze me out of this house. You know, show us some estrogen cream we could buy to help her. You need a man that's got his senses, not a man that's trying to find himself. Every day you met, oh, it's cute when you dating him, and he's over there playing Nintendo every day, and you're out beating the pavement trying to get job. He in there playing the Nintendo, and every day, oh, it's cute while you dating. Right. The minute you get his last name, all of a sudden, you're going to be like, dude, you better get a job. And then what's going to happen is, you're going to get resentful, you're going to get mad, and he's going to be like, what? You knew I've always been like this. So you got to find a man that's ready, boo. A man that, listen, I'm going to tell you something. I have seen where a man hadn't been ready, but the minute he finds your beautiful tail, your gorgeous, profitable, amazing, carrying all these hat self, he gonna be getting himself ready. You hear me? He gonna stop hanging out with his single friends. He gonna start getting him some mentors that's married, because he sees something he don't want to lose. And the one thing that I've learned about men, if a man is into you, ladies, he is calling you, he is texting you, he is spending time with you. You are his favorite pastime. He wants to get to know you. You're like, oh, I know that he's the one for me. We went out on a date last Friday night, and he just told me, we laughed, we giggled. He said he was gonna call me in 5 days. He still ain't called me. He must be spending time with the Lord, because he seemed really holy. No, he just don't like you. He don't like you.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is we're going to try to change ourselves for these people that we want to marry because we're trying to settle, because we want to have babies, because instead of getting ourselves in a position, hiding ourselves in God. And when God is ready, he will make sure the man that's right for you, y'all will have a collision on Facebook. Y'all will have a collision at the prayer meeting. Y'all will be at church and he'll see you across the room. He will connect you, but you got to get ready. I intentionally, y'all, when I went through my divorce in 2006, I promise you, I was the only one in my family that could not keep a marriage. I was literally raised in a religion that said, if you get divorced, you're going to hell on a slip and slide. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to hell on a slip and slide. I can't keep a man. I felt unworthy. I had 2 sons that needed their father. And here he is, 2 preachers' kids. One's over here alcoholic and one's having to move back in with her mom and daddy at 36 years old with her kids. And I told God that night, this is for some of you out there, I was laying in that bed in a fetal position, mad at God for the storms that I created because I got ahead of God. And I was laying in that bed. And I was saying, God, if you can put the stars and the moon and you can create billions of people, all of us different fingerprints, then why can't you heal my marriage? And I heard say, you never one time asked me if that was your man. You never one time brought me into the situation. And now he is not even trying to get to know me. And I said, well, then if my marriage is not going to get better, then God, take the pain away from me. I got to get up and live again. He said, I can't take the pain away. You got to get up and walk away from it. You got to quit stalking it on Facebook. You got to quit comparing yourself to everybody else. Quit comparing your story and own your truth. And that's when my recovery started. I put a do not disturb up on my heart. And I said, okay, God, I'll give you 5. I'll give you 1 year. He laughed and took 5. Because that's how tore up from the floor up I was. I'm like, man, I'm black, but I crack, God. Because white women melt, okay? I was like, I got to start all over again. I'm wasting 17 years. And God said, you didn't waste a thing. He said, and if you start getting yourself healed, start getting lost in your passion. Don't go to bed every night. Oh, I need a man to put his arms around me. Who's going to wipe my tail when I'm old? Stop looking at then and get yourself ready now. And that's exactly what I did. I put a do not disturb up on my heart. And when I tell you I got so lost, I learned how to preach. I learned my calling. I learned how to prophesy. I learned how to write books. I wrote 3 books in 4 years. I mean, I was busy on my purpose. And God brought a man of God into my life for such a time as this. Because he knew. He said, where I'm about to take you, you're going to need a man that's anointed enough and confident enough. You see, it matters. The wrong partner. Look at Delilah and Samson. Hello, the wrong partner can detour you, but the good thing about God is that he's got a call of God on your life. If you ever get in that place, withholding nothing, he takes it, man, and starts giving you restitution. He starts Joel 2:25, I'll give you back everything the devil stole. He starts giving you restitution, even in the storms that you created. And look what he's done in 6 years. 6 years, y'all. God has given me this bound chicken, and in 6 years, God has done more in our life together because we are equally yoked. That's the word. Equally yoked. And let me just tell you, how do you know if he's the right one? If you got to ask that question, they ain't the right one. Because God is in it. Boom, it just flows. You're still going to have challenges, just like Apostle and Pastor Phineka, just like we all are talking about. You're still going to have situations, but the thing with love is you choose it every day because you just like the person. You know what I'm saying? It's worth fighting for. And you make each other better. You push each other to breakthroughs and not break down. So that's what I gotta say about that. Y'all man's cute little bald head. Y'all better not settle for Bozo. And pray for Boaz. Don't you do it. Don't be mad at yourself.
Jesus. And you know what? I really felt the Spirit of God as she was speaking, and a lot of freedom and deliverance is taking place. And one of the key things that I took was, her crying out to the Lord and asking God, why did this happen to me? Why did this occur in my life? And he told her clearly, you did not even talk to me about it. And how she says, you know what? It's time for us to own our truth. And that And that's what it means when you say no to deception and you say yes to truth, is that you are saying, I do not want to be in this false reality. I no longer, want to live in lies. I want to walk in freedom. And hearing Pastor Kim's story of her choosing to put a do not disturb sign on her heart. And she said when she gave God those 5 years of her life, she intentionally sought out God, and purpose was reignited in her. And I believe that tonight, that resurrection power is taking place, where a lot of you ladies who have been dead, feeling as if you had no worth, feeling as if your life was over from a past relationship, or just what people have said about you, that tonight you've been reunited, and we have just breathed life into you. And it's not just us, it's the Spirit of God inside of us that is speaking to you right now, that you are not on this call, you're not on this webinar by accident. Today is your day. And because of her obedience and her laying down her life, she was able to recognize her husband, Mark. And looking at these pictures here, you see joy, you see excitement. They are equally yoked. They're pursuing purpose together. No one is in competition. I love this picture here of him just praying over her. And that right there shows that he's a priest over his home, that he doesn't just see her as, like a best preacher. He sees her as his wife, and that is his first ministry. So that is beautiful. Because of her yes, and because of her being intentional, she was able to acknowledge and recognize who God had for her. Yeah. And even with Pastor Phineka, hearing her story of how she came from a broken relationship, she felt as if she felt as if she was indebted, to a man because of a sin that happened. And the enemy wanted her to believe that it was sin and that it would never be able to be restored. But God came in and restored her, and that beautiful daughter of hers and all of her children are a representation of God's redemptive power. She is now, she has always been gorgeous, but look at her now with her family. Her amazing husband. These people, oh my gosh, my husband and I talk about them all the time. They are the most realist, most genuine people that you will ever meet. And they exude so much wisdom and so much hope. I love their journey of meeting each other, of how they were best friends and how they came into a relationship. But Phineka would not be able to recognize her now husband if she had not chosen God's heart, if she had not chosen to get free, if she had not chosen to believe what God said about her. You see all of this? It was because of her yes. You guys, this is powerful, powerful, powerful. And we look at Apostle K here, you guys. Oh my gosh, each woman on here has just been releasing power nuggets. But what I love about, just these pictures and us hearing of the journeys of these women, even Apostle K, of her journey of God taking her through a season of her realizing that, I cannot change this man, God. You, God, have placed me in his life for a reason and for a purpose. God, show me how to love this man. Show me how to take my pride away, God. Show me how to know that my strength is able to help his weakness and vice versa. And what I loved about her journey as well was that when you understand that, I cannot change this man. I cannot try to make him into who I want him to be, that we need to renew our minds in marriage in knowing that, God, I can only be the wife that he needs. He can only be the husband that I need if I renew my mind in your word and I ask you how to do this. All right, you guys, so this is just powerful, powerful. And look at her now with a beautiful family, walking in purpose. I mean, these are my pastors, you guys. They are literally changing the world. One of the fastest growing churches in the world, a movement to where they encourage family, they encourage healthy marriages and all of that good stuff. And if it wasn't for her, you guys, she would not even be on this call right now, you guys. So thank God for her submitting her season unto the Lord. And even with me, I was briefly able to share some of my journey of walking out of deception into truth. And I am happily married with my husband and learning how to serve him and learning how to even let my pride down and be the wife that God's called me to be. So with all of these stories, you guys, you see that we're married, we have families, we're happy, and we're smiling. but we all have different stories and different journeys. But the one thing that we have in common is that we had to go through a season of preparation, a season to where we had to die to ourselves, a season where we had to say, God, I don't know what to do. Some of us went through a season of being broken and being put back up and being put back together again. Some of us had to get divorced and relearn ourselves. But you know what? We are standing here today and we are filled with wisdom, and we're here today strong, saying, okay, God, thank you for the pressure. Thank you for letting go of that bad relationship. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for holding me in the moments where I didn't know what to do. Thank you, Lord. And even for me personally, you know, with being married now, that, you know, looking back at my single season and coming into marriage, I've come to the conclusion of like, man, if I had a true community of women who were around me, or if I had, you know, mentors and people that were pouring into me during my season of singleness, if I had intentionally prepared and, you know, got my soul healed and went through the proper process of really figuring out, okay, who is Natasha? I went through a process of that, but looking back, I'm like, man, it could have been more in depth. I could have learned more about Natasha. I could have even been able to establish a greater level of wholeness. And I know that, you know, God is faithful because I'm married now and I am flourishing in that. But what we want to do as women and as your sisters in Christ is let you know that you do not have to wait until you're married, until you will figure out who you are or know how to prepare. Yes, with marriage, and when you get into covenant, yes, things are going to change and you're going to have to learn how to be a wife. But why walk into being a wife not even knowing who a wife is, what a wife does, what God says about marriage? If you're able to go into that season of your life prepared and ready and strong and secure in your identity and your role in God and your role in this marriage, just think how amazing your marriage will be. And that is why we, you know, just want to ask you guys a question right now. Okay. I just shared my journey of, man, I wish that I had a season of my life or something to give me to help me intentionally prepare for marriage. So I want to ask you guys, if you had the opportunity to have access to something that would help prepare you to walk into marriage, would you sign up for it? Would you say, yes, I need this help? If somebody were to come to you and say, hey, let me walk with you through how to be a woman of God, how to be a virtuous woman. We hear all the time, Proverbs 31 woman, let's be a virtuous woman. But you know what? You need someone to come in and to show you how to do this. You need to be able to sit at someone's feet and to be able to receive the wisdom. It's not just going to come from book knowledge. It's not just going to come from going on social media and seeing pictures. You need to sit and be intentional and be purposeful in wanting to get this information. So how many of you guys, if you guys had access to something like that, would you be interested in it? I see in the chat room, it is blowing up. People are like, yes, 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 yes. Well, you guys, we have something that is spectacular. The Online Singles Conference 2018 is a conference that my husband Jamal and I host every year. And as you can see, we are very passionate about equipping you all singles to be ready and prepared for marriage. If you guys have enjoyed what Pastor Kim has shared, what Apostle Kamilah has shared, what Pastor Phineka has shared, you guys want to be a part of this event. So I'm going to bring my husband on with me, and we want to go through what the Online Singles Conference is, how excited we're about, how excited we are about it, and all of that great stuff. So the Online Singles, here's my husband, Jamal.
Hey everybody, thanks for in here. Y'all, yes. I mean, oh my gosh, y'all. This is just, I was literally over here like pacing back and forth. I was like, if they don't just tell the truth and shame the devil, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself right now. And so, I mean, tonight has been phenomenal. And like Natasha said perfectly, babe, you did amazing being able to really show the essence of what the Online Singles Conference is all about. Is truly being able to take you from a place of, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do. I'm sick of the same old thing. I'm sick of being frustrated with my singleness. I'm sick of people telling me lies, telling me this, and being scared of making the wrong decision in dating. I'm scared to put myself out there. How much should I do? What should I not do? These are the things that we want to help you tackle. But most importantly, like Natasha said, falling in love with Jesus is one of the most important things you can do with your single season.
Yeah.
But the next level of falling in love with Jesus is re-falling in love with you.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's some of the thing that we got to realize is we got to now learn ourselves newly in Christ. And this is what the Online Singles Conference is all about. So we're going to do very quickly is just walk you guys through the conference so you guys better understand what this thing is. And we want you to know that this is your next season looking right in front of you. Right inside this conference is God saying, I want to walk you into a new season.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we've done with the Online Singles Conference is that we believe that it's pivotal for you to master 3 seasons, right? It's the single season, the dating season, and the marriage season. And people say, well, how do I master those and I'm not in those? That's wisdom.
Right.
Wisdom is for you to invest in yourself now to already understand what a season is going to take for you to master before it even comes. So that's what the Online Singles Conference is going to do. So one of the first things we're going to focus in on is the marriage season. A lot of people always say that you have to learn from other married couples how to be married. And the thing that we have to face in our reality is we're coming from more broken marriages today than ever before. So if you did not learn it in home, it's going to be much more difficult for you to learn how to have a successful marriage, because right now, you know who you studying from? You studying from Brown Sugar. You studying from Notebook. You studying from all these Hollywood movies that, I'm sorry, they not getting the information from the Word of God. No. They getting it straight from the flesh of what they think a fairy tale love is. But we're going to give you guys some truth. The marriage season session is going to be taught by Phineka friend, LeBrian friend. They're going to be laying down biblical roles. All right. What is the role of a man and a woman, husband and wife in the 21st century? And they're going to break that thing down, because the reality is, y'all, it's evolved. It is real life. What Phineka was saying was so important that she was talking about, man, if a husband gets sick, he over there putting the head, you know, he putting the cover over his head. But the thing is, like, looking at it now, you got women that's working 9 to 5. You got women that got multiple children. What does that role look like today when 20 years ago, no women were working? Women were at home. How does that work today in keeping in confines of the Word of God? They're going to be teaching on that session. Then our pastors, our parents, Apostle Matthew, Kamilah, Stevenson, one of the biggest things we found coming into our marriage, guys,
mother and father wounds.
I mean, mother and father wounds is real life. I mean, your parents' marriage or lack thereof is going to show up in your marriage, whether you like it or not. And they're going to help you to deal with those wounds before your marriage comes. So that session is going to help walk you through a process of healing, forgiving, and knowing how to now process how is this going to work when I get married, knowing that I did not have a good marriage, a good marriage that I saw growing up. And how do I make sure that I don't let that thing come into my marriage? Breaking the cycle is key. And that's what they're going to help you to do there. And then me and Natasha, one of the biggest struggles that we've had in our marriage is being completely 100%, 1000. All right. And in this session, we're going to talk about being naked and unashamed, not just the sex part, y'all, because the reality is anybody, all y'all in here know what sex does and how it works and all that good stuff. But there's another part of sex that we don't talk about, and that's transparency. And that is sex in itself. And me and Natasha are going to be breaking this down of why it's so important to learn how to truly be 1000 with your future spouse. And what does that process take? This is the one part of marriage, I'm sorry, you can't prepare for. Being able to be bare before your spouse is something that really does take investing into you now to learn the value of it later. This is the marriage season, y'all. How many of y'all saying, I mean, my God, we need this in my life today? All right. And so we are blessed to have John and Hannah. I asked them, I said, can you come and you just tell us the wisdom? Because I mean, we've been married, 10 less years. Y'all got 20 years on you guys. So we want y'all at 20 plus years. So their session is called Loveology, the truth of how to sustain love after 20 years. All right, now we're going to move into the single season. All right, so the thing that we want you guys to know is many of you are in the single season now. We want you to master it. We want you to truly go after that thing and be able to know, I successfully completed this season. But we took these sessions are built from the place of what we've seen that majority singles struggle with most. Because most people, I know some of y'all are still struggling with one night stands. Some of y'all are still struggling with sex and giving your bodies up. But most of you aren't. Most of you have made vows and commitment to your body. Most of you wearing purity rings, saying, I'm married to Jesus, ain't nobody touching me. And I'm proud of you. But what we found is that you're still giving your heart away. You may not be having sex with your body, but you sure having sex with your mind. You have your sex with your text messages, all the emotions you're going through, and I call it emotional sex. So I asked her to talk to him. I was like, can you come in and talk about this? Can you teach these folks how to protect their heart, not just their body? Because everybody over here putting their rings up, and reality is you got soul ties all over the place. I mean, just spread out, all right? So she's going to come and teach on emotional sex, how to protect your heart from committing adultery, and really give you guys some real truth about this concept that I believe is missing in the church. Next is our good friends, Jerry and Tanisha Flowers. Y'all know them very well. The next thing we're going to be hitting on, because if you are not struggling with emotional sex, then you are truly struggling with lust. And lust, something that we are not talking about today, the realness of it and how the battle. I'm talking about masturbation. All right. A lot of you are struggling with this. I'm talking about, everything from, we hear it all, man. We hear people, throwing out sex toys. We hear people throwing out, like vibrators. We hear people throwing out these things when they begin to hear the truth about what it's doing to them in their future marriages. Pornography is just not men anymore. It's women, y'all. Women are struggling with this just as much as men are. We are exposing the devil and we're calling him out and we're saying no more will this thing go on. So my friends, Jerry and Tanisha Flowers, are going after the spirit of lust and they're breaking it. Next is going to be, if you're not struggling with these things, y'all, the next thing you're going to do is struggle with comparison.
And this is for my ladies. I know Brittany Morton is an amazing communicator and teacher, and she's going to be talking about you are not here. You are not her. How to overcome comparison and find your true self. And if you can overcome and get free from comparison and jealousy and envy in your single season, it is going to help you a lot in your marriage, okay? Because you want to be secure in who you are, and you have to be secure even in your marriage, because even when you're married, you cannot compare your marriage to someone else's marriage. So she's going to be hitting that and talking to us women of how to do that.
Herself, and so she's gone through the trenches of this thing. She's the founder of Saving City. So amazing here. And the next thing we're going to find is communication between the sexes. How do men and women truly communicate in their single season to where it's done healthy? So I'm asking my good friend Jared to come and talk about decoding the silence between men and women. I do believe men and women should learn how to have healthy friendships in their single season, because I believe that's where majority of folks are going to meet. You're going to meet your spouses possibly in your friendships, in the friend zone. So we're going to decode the silence there and teach you guys that concept. This is going to be really powerful. All right, now let's go into the dating season. Y'all ready for this? Dating season. All right, so these are for those of you that are saying, I want to date God's way. When he comes, I want to be able to do this thing right. I want to be able to honor God and successfully transition into a healthy God-centered marriage. How many of you guys have heard of Michael Todd? He had a series go viral recently. His sermon series was called Relationship Goals, and this thing has gone viral. So I pulled the man of God and I said, brother, we need you to come and set this thing up for us. Talk about the realness of singleness and the myths of dating. What are the things that godly men and women should not be doing that we know we're doing in dating season? And a lot of people that honestly, y'all are like, man, I'm just trying to get a date, right? I'm trying to get out there, and he's gonna be talking about and breaking that down and being able to really break down the whole concept of even getting a date in the midst of how it's done. Because I believe that it don't take you having to, I think being out in groups, that's another form of dating. There's so much different things you go about this thing. We're gonna talk about it today. Next thing is gonna be by Tim and Breland Bowman. They are, I love their journey and their story, but they're going to be talking about boundaries. All right. Can we go there? How to remain pure while dating? It's enough right there setting it to it. I know me and Natasha are able to successfully date pure, and it has made all the difference in our marriage. And we pray that they can come and help you guys to give that concept and help impart that into you. The next thing we're finding is a lot of people asking about, and I had a lot of men. This is for you, or the guys. For you dudes out there.
Somebody might have sneaked in there.
Ladies, if you have a friend that's a male, this is a lot of questions that the guys are asking. How much money does it really take? How much money does it really take for us to have a successful marriage? So I want them to come and break down what does it take to transition from a dating engagement to marriage? How much money should you be making? What is the practicality of that? How much money should he be making? What should be the qualifications of this piece? Because it's very important, because I think a lot of people are stopping from getting married because they think they're not ready financially. And they're going to come and really break the truths down that it's not about what's in your bank account. It's really about what's in your mind. It's about your behavior, right? That's the thing, because you can have millions of dollars in your bank account and still not be ready for marriage. So they're going to come and really give that truth to you guys. And last but not least, we have our good friends, Cornelius and Heather Lindsay, being beautiful friends of ours, that we want them to come and talk about the first year, how to transition from singleness to marriage without losing yourself. Y'all, like, this has been huge for a lot of folks asking us, like a lot of people saying, man, I'm scared to lose my identity once I get married. This is a huge problem. And we want to help you guys to know how to do this and do it God's way. Y'all, how many of y'all like this? At least one session, you like, it's worth everything for me. That one session right there, everybody's raising their hands. It's what I need in my life. So let's just continue on as we kind of just break this thing down. Next thing I want to talk about is bonuses. All right. So we are big about bonuses because we like to celebrate action. All right. The Bible says without works, well, my goodness, faith without works is dead, right? So you can believe God for all this stuff, and you can, and all that great amazing things. But what's cool about the bonuses is for us is like, we want to celebrate your action. We want to celebrate you putting your work to your faith and being able to say, I'm believing God for this. I'm going to step out on this. But if you do, we're going to give you some bonuses. All right. And we have some pretty amazing bonuses that we're going to give. Tonight, we're going to be giving away a fast action bonus. That's going to be for those of you that register by the time this webinar is over. We're going to be giving you guys one of our premier courses and workshops by some of the people you heard tonight, right? The first one's going to be by Natasha Miller. She taught a session called How to Position Yourself to Be Found. This is a 1-hour jam-packed workshop teaching you how to position yourself to be found. The next one, y'all, this session right here, Apostle K taught this 2 years ago, and it's still one of our most requested sessions ever. I mean, this thing people still comment on it. I'm still receiving emails. How to become a woman worth marrying. I mean, and she just came for lives on that session. So y'all just get ready for that, because she truly lays down what it truly takes to become a woman worth marrying. And last bonus for tonight with Real Talk Kim, her session last year had folks on their knees crying out to God how to successfully move on from a failed relationship. When you register tonight, you're going to get this bonus in your life and have it. You immediately get it as soon as you register to take it and consume it right away. All right. So that's that, only for those who register tonight. Next, we call the Make Me Ready package. This is for anyone that registers at any time. You're gonna be getting 4 ebooks, whether you're a single parent, whether you are a guy that needs to learn how to pursue, whether you need to learn how to dress on the first date, or you want to know the stages of a relationship. Now, this is some amazing content that we're gonna be giving you guys out tonight just because you said yes to your season of preparation. Awesome. And for those of you that register within the next 24 hours, everybody saying, I mean, it's just bonuses on bonuses.
You got it.
You know, it's better to give than it is to receive, right? I won't be deceived bonus package. This is one of the packages that we believe we put together especially for those who are saying, I will not be deceived. So we're going to break down, first thing, the man I want versus the man I need. This is an ebook that I had specially written by my content team to break down how do we know the difference between the man I want and the man I need, and knowing the essentials of what I should be getting. The next thing is going to be the 6 things that should be asked on the first date. What are those questions that you should not ask? Y'all be out here on the first day asking every question. Social security number, where the last 3 places you stayed, how much money, when was your last 3 jobs? Y'all, there's certain questions you should not be asking. Y'all stop. Like, y'all should just, okay.
Chill, enjoy.
So that's going to be that ebook, all right? And the last thing is 12 ways to recognize a soul tie. When they had that book cover, I was like, my God, that thing looks serious. 12 ways to recognize a soul tie and 6 ways to break free. Everybody said this is a steal. How many of y'all ready to register right now, right? All right, so we're going to very quickly, we want you guys to listen to a story. Oh, last but not least, breaking the cycle. We are making this as a limited time only bonus because this is so much value right here. Too much value to even talk about every one of these sessions. But if you do register tonight, we are going to get this over to you guys as well. All right, I want you to watch this story very quickly, and we're going to tell you guys where to go register.
So I would say the most life-changing thing that happened as a result of taking the conference last year was truly identifying my purpose and identity in Christ. Before this conference, I battled with depression and just abandonment. Inside, I just felt embarrassed sometimes. Even when dating, I would wait weeks before disclosing that I had 3 children because I had taken on that stigma too, that I wasn't worthy because I had children outside of marriage. But prior to this conference, I wouldn't even have the capability of identifying those root causes and what had caused so many failed relationships. We have to identify and overcome our root core issues before being prepared for a mate. And as a result of the conference, I know that I am redeemed. I know that I don't have to be embarrassed because of my past or my mistakes. I would say the most powerful thing ever and why you should register for this online conference is you will walk away knowing your identity in Christ. Your self-esteem will skyrocket. You will own your self-worth. And of course, I'm confident that when opportunity presents to meet your match, God is definitely a matchmaker.
So guys, like you see it, man, like this thing is life-changing. We've had literally over the last 3 years, thousands of men and women transformed because of this conference. And before we talk about, this, how to go register, I want Apostle K just quickly just to share her nugget of why you need to learn how to invest in yourself.
Yes, so when you're investing in yourself, you're either making yourself an expense or an asset. So I do believe that when people are not in the habit of investing in themselves, and the best thing you can invest in yourself is wisdom and knowledge. There's a scripture that talks about how people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. Knowledge is the issue. And if people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge, then that means relationships are destroyed from not having the knowledge that's needed to invest yourself in yourself, because you are part of that relationship. I often love the scripture also in Proverbs 4:7 that talks about the beginning of wisdom is to get wisdom. But I love the second part even more, where it says, though it costs you everything, get understanding. And the reason why is because a successful marriage is not just about the exchange of love. It is, but there are some people who love sincerely, but you can ask people who've been divorced. Love was not always enough to keep the relationship together. A successful marriage is the result of the application of knowledge. And even with my story, this whole platform of having a culture to learn and to gain wisdom and knowledge, that wasn't around before I got married. Yeah. And so when I encountered some of my issues, I had to search to learn something. I did not know how to do marriage the way I needed to for it to be successful. And I am extremely happy at just the result of that. And I really feel like if I didn't get the knowledge that I needed, I don't know what our marriage could look like right now, because my husband is such a wonderful guy right now. I could have created some kind of monster, and it would have been just because I didn't have the right knowledge in order to apply into my marriage. So I believe that when people take time out to invest in themselves, they become an asset and not an expense to a relationship. And it's something that can really help you to eliminate the risk of having an unsuccessful marriage, because at the end of the day, you don't really want to experience an unsuccessful marriage. And so to eliminate the risk of that, you have to have platforms and systems that educate. We get educated on everything but relationships. But I believe that there is no greater entity ever that destroys people's lives more than relationships. There is, no one can ever name anything greater that will destroy a person's life other than relationships. And so I think it's the least entity that we really spend time on getting educated about and getting knowledge and wisdom. And I do believe that whether it costs you whatever, that you should gain some understanding if it's somewhere in your vision or in your future. If you plan on dating, getting in a relationship, or you desire marriage, you need to be educated. Period.
So good. Well, everybody, you've heard it from the apostle's mouth, all right? We're going to give you guys the opportunity now to do this thing and really take this next leap of faith. We know for a lot of you, investing in yourself is new. And we know that investing in something like this is going to be new for many of you, but I believe with all of my heart, when you make this decision, you're going to feel the shift in your life. So how many of you are ready right now to go and register? Many of you probably thinking this thing costs you $400, $500, $600. Well, if you look at all the bonuses, it is like $700, $800 worth of bonuses. But guys, tonight it's only a $97 investment to be able to take your season and shift it into a new place. So we want you to go ahead and register, everybody. You can go ahead and go to TOSC18.com. Like we said, for those of you that want to access the fast action bonuses, which is what's to the left, you have to register before this webinar ends, all right, before the webinar ends. And we're going to spend about 30 minutes doing some Q&A with you guys. For those of you that did desire to go and get the ebook, that you stayed to the very end, I want to say thank you guys so much. We're going to add that. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get the link put up here. But while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and start feeding out some questions to you guys. And before we do that, we want to just personally thank Pastor Kim, Pastor K, Pastor Phineka. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this and rocking this with us. We are so grateful for you guys and the journeys you guys have been through to get to this point in your lives. And to be a part of this journey with us is amazing. And everybody, like we said, not only will we be able to hear Pastor Kim again, Apostle K again, and Pastor Phineka again, but some of the most world-class speakers in the world that are in relationships, talking about relationships, are going to be able to transform your life in this online conference. And so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go register now. And We're gonna start answering some questions, and I'm gonna throw the link up with the ebook very quickly, and I'm gonna let some questions start going. We'll feed them out to you guys. Pastor Kim, Pastor K, Phineka, as you guys want to go ahead and jump off, however you want to flow and go. Pastor Kim, thank you so
Pastor
much.
Kim.
We love you. Everybody give it up to Pastor Kim. She's rolling out. Thank you so much, Pastor Kim. We love you.
I got a flight early.
I so enjoyed your Real Talk, Kim.
Thank you. I love all of y'all. I'm like,
I was excited.
I love me some y'all. Thank you for letting me be here.
Yes. They put the 2 country girls and the 2 city girls.
You have a good evening.
All right, guys, we're gonna throw a link up, and then we're gonna just answer some questions here and get you guys some questions answered. Give us a quick second as I get this link put up for you guys, or I think I have it. Oh, there it is. There is the link there. If you guys can see it, bit.ly/ just take a little quick take a quick screenshot of that, guys. It's bit.ly/ 5 red flags gift. All right, that's for the free ebook. All right, for the free ebook, you can go ahead and get that, screenshot it. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it tonight. But let's go ahead and go back to the link so you guys can see it. It's tosc18.com, tosc18.com. And I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and answer some questions, and then we got 30 minutes for Q&A, guys, and then tonight will be over. Basically, that means you have 30 minutes to go and register for the conference to get the fast action bonus package. All right?
Okay. Shift Command and 4 to screenshot on MacBook. I just happened to see that question pop up.
Yeah, shift. Yeah, it's like, let me see if I can add it.
4, I think Shift Command 4.
And then we're gonna, you can go ahead.
Okay, guys, so I'm just gonna go through some questions, and then you guys can just feel free to answer which one. Okay, so do you guys believe that a woman can communicate interest to a man?
I never recommend it. I think that he should go first. I think it's okay, but I think that it should be a response and not an initiation towards a man. And I'm not saying that people haven't done it, more power to them, but I really just feel like I'm from the old school mindset where I think men should pursue. And because sometimes it's my theory that, the way things start is the way they pretty much end. And if you start off pursuing or initiating or being aggressive in a relationship, you might have to keep doing that in order for things to be the way you want them to be. And so I like the whole paradigm of a man pursuing a woman and showing interest in her initially first, and then a woman can respond back after there is a clear picture of what it means for him to initiate, not something that's very vague or him just saying like, oh, I really like your shoes, because some women take that stuff the wrong way. Yeah, a real clear picture of I'm interested in you,
That's good. I agree. How about you, Pastor Phineka?
I agree. Old school too. My grandparents raised me. She always said, dog always chased the cat. And so I agree. And like you said, in this day and time, and I'm a Southern woman. We say sweetie and baby and darling. And I know guys that are country like me, and I've seen women take. There's some small things they said way out of, you know what I'm saying? And, or they like me, so let me just try to pursue them. No, sugar, that ain't how it works, because if he's interested, he's gonna let you know. I'm talking about even the shyest man will find him some strength, and he will find a voice when it's for something that he likes. Yeah,
I love it. And that's true, and just like Pastor Kim has shared too, that man, if a man is interested in you, you will not have to question that interest. You won't. And that's what we all experience with our now husbands is I never felt as if, he wasn't interested in me. He made that very clear in the beginning of us getting to know each other. And to me, that has, and it's helped in our marriage and knowing that, man, okay, he did desire me. You know what I mean? He was intentional with pursuing me. So
absolutely.
That helps everything. Okay. Let me see another one question. Okay, so if a man, it's a lot of questions, you guys. Sorry. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of questions of people that are wanting to know how can they date or like put themselves out there. And there was someone who said that, she's 46 years old and she's never been in a serious relationship and she wants to know how she can date. And I know that within like the Christian world and everything that we can make it like super spiritual. And I know at the same time that it needs to be a little bit more practical. And I know for me, you know, when it comes to putting yourself out there, it's not like, you know, just you getting eye contact or, you know, responding to a question and your countenance being calm and you being approachable, I think can go very far in regards to putting yourself out there. What do you guys think? I mean, you don't have to be like,
I agree.
Yeah,
just be regular. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You ain't got to go into, you know, restaurant and stand there like, hey, you see me? Yeah, you see me? You know, you do that. You know, just be regular. And, you know, and I think one of the sad lies we have told people, at least I know me, you know, you got to find that brother, you know, like this. Let me tell you something. All the brothers in church ain't there for the right reason. Right. You know what I'm saying? So you have to watch further than a church goer. I mean, you know, we just saw this big article where this lady met a young man. I think it was in St. Louis. They was in church, in ministry, and they went to church, had communion. He went home and shot her husband. You know, she met him in the church, you know, and they got married very quickly. It seems as if the article, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we feel like, oh, if it's in church, it's just right. You know what I mean? That's not the case. And sometimes they might can't quote a million scriptures, you know what I'm saying? But that don't make them not be right. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just be regular. You know, I think that's the beauty in it. I think when we keep it on the forefront of our mind, it's today gonna be the day that I find a man. You know what I'm saying? You have to say, you know, what the Bible said, they that wait on the Lord, right? He will renew. I think every day you say, okay, God, I just want what you have for me. And listen, when you start saying that, you will get so lost. That brother show up and you don't even know what to do. Well, my husband and I had been friends for years, even before I had my daughter. I mean, we were so close friends until he was in the delivery room when I had her and she wasn't his father and we weren't dating. And he proposed and we never went on a date. Okay, that's how much he meant that he wanted to be, you know what I'm saying, with me. But I think we have to be very careful when we say X, Y, and Z. This is how you be found. This is how you know what I mean? Just be regular, man. Just be regular. You'll just stumble up on him. You'll stumble up on him in the field like Naomi did. Ruth and Naomi. Listen, come on.
I think she's right. You know, don't go into your idea of finding the right person with thinking that, oh, because he's gifted or he's in church, it's automatically. You got to make sure that those values are lined up with each other. He may not be, like she said, the most, you know, the person who quote all the scriptures, but he's a good man. His credit is good. He's take good care of his family or be a good father. So you got to pay attention to all of that. But it's okay to just be normal. And, you know, I just think people are anxious and they just don't trust God concerning relationships. You just got to
that's what it is.
Trust God and know that you just live your life and that you will be found. There are a million testimonies about that. I'm one of them. I wasn't looking for a man. I wasn't looking for marriage. As a matter of fact, I didn't think I would get married I didn't think I was going to get married until about right now. And that was in my mind. So don't feel like, you know, God can't make this thing work. You know, it's just sometimes you and your anxiety can delay the process of what God wants to do because you're unprepared and you're anxious and you'll make dumb decisions. And God doesn't want to, you know, do anything that's going to destroy your life, you know. So sometimes he will withhold certain things for your own good. But you can be normal. You can be natural. I even believe that a woman can crush on a guy. I think she can do it in a smart way. She can do it in a way where her brain is involved and not her heart. So if you do wind up crushing on a guy, don't involve your heart. Steer your actions with your brain. Don't let your intelligence get robbed because you don't wound up in some fantasy world where you dreaming about you and him and he ain't even asked you out on a date or anything. Keep your brain and your intellectual capacity at the forefront when you are crushing on a guy. I think it's okay. I think it's normal. I know women look at guys and say, oh, he look good, he look whatever, but just make sure that those seeds don't wind up filtering all the way through your heart and then all of a sudden you in some relationship by yourself with your fantasy realm. And then that'll set you up for failure also.
Yeah. And I know for me, when I was single, I mean, when I was in those desperate moments, I'd go to church and some guy, like a new guy, would come into the building and he didn't have no ring on. And you could see all the women in there like, okay, is he gonna come sit by me? He gonna hug me? And I fall, and I even felt prey to it. I'm like, man, he's opening the door for me. He looked at me, a second longer. And then when he don't come back to the church, you like, where is he at? God, that's my husband. So, I mean, that's very true. We have to be sound and we have to be sober. And there was another.
I know whole women who fell in love with men.
Yes. Yeah.
Who never even asked them out, who never even asked for their number. So it does happen.
It turns really
because bad. A lot of times we trust God with other stuff, but we don't trust God with our heart and our money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's one of the things. We struggle with trusting God with our heart, and we struggle with trusting God with our money. You ain't send no man quick enough, so I'm just gonna make something happen.
Yeah.
If my money funny, I ain't gonna tithe because I know it's a principle, but I ain't gonna do that because I need this money to survive. And I always tell people that we trust God with stuff, but we don't trust him with our heart, and we don't trust him with our money. And we say, God, what do you have for me? As it pertains to my heart. And I think what a lot of times is people don't even know how to pray and ask things to God because people have been told, oh, that's silly to ask God. No. God is concerned about the matters of your heart. And when you begin to give him the matters of your heart, a lot of times he won't be trampled on, knocked off, and you know what I'm saying, and you depressed and going through all this stuff because you put the cart before the horse, as my grandma say. You try to make your own way of how to make something go forward. And that's just not the way it goes. Trust God even with your heart.
Yes, that's so good. And you know what? I just want to go ahead and shout out some people that have registered for the online singles conference who have said, I want to enter into my new season. We have Angela Young, welcome. We have Natinia Cornish. We have Regina, Latoya, Elise Royland. We have Amber. We have Javia. We have Angelica, Claudia. We have Grace, you guys. I love that name. That's my daughter's middle name, Grace. Cassie. We have Marlene, Shakita, Kenya, Lakeisha, Kalisha. We have so many people that have said yes to entering into their new season tonight. I am so proud of you guys. I am personally so excited to hang with you guys for 2 days, March 9th through the 10th. We have a blast. You guys are going to be able to really interact with us and learn more about us. I also want to welcome Nina, Anta, Felicia, Bridget, Sharonda, Janelle, Shante, Ivy, Debbie, all these beautiful names, Jasmine,
I loved it.
Deborah, Cynthia, Shakila, Tabitha, Jasmine, Ashley, all these beautiful, beautiful souls, beautiful hearts that are hungry after truth and that want to be prepared for their future, you guys. This is beautiful. I feel like, man, we're just all in a room together, just having fun together, right? This is great. Wow. Great, you guys. So let me go ahead and look and see if I can find any other questions. I'm seeing too that, there are some questions about, would God send you a mate that you're not attracted to? We hear this all the time to where some women feel like, okay, well, here's what I want. But when I hear preachers teach certain things, it's like, it's not what you want, it's what you need. So how does that kind of, move in marriage and kind of, choosing who you want to spend your life with? Like, I know for me, I believe that you need to be attracted to your spouse. I believe, yes, you need to want to be with them. You need to want to look at them. But I believe that there's negotiables and non-negotiables. And I believe that, once you become mature and you begin to even get healed from some dysfunctions and healed from old mindsets that are not, in line with God's word, you're able to, process guys differently, because for me, it's like with my husband, it's like, yeah, I had dated other guys before that were taller or they were a certain complexion, but they didn't have, my non-negotiables. So for me, I was like, yo, you look good, but you don't know Jesus. You don't live for God. You don't have any boundaries. And your character isn't in line. So I'm not going to just marry you because of your looks. I want to marry you because of your character. So like, how can women kind of keep that balance and not feel as if they're compromising or settling?
I'll I'll answer that. You know, it's funny. Me and my husband often tell the story because we were years before. I was not attracted to him when I first met him. I'm a big girl. You know, I'm a plus size woman. I like a big man, and that's typically, you know, I like a linebacker. You need to be like 300 pounds. I like you with a little flat tie on the side. I like a little meat, something to hold on to. That's just what I like. That was my preference, right?
Yeah.
And what was crazy is something we talked about later is I would always say that to him, like, "Ooh, I'll never date a skinny man. A skinny man is not attractive to me." Da da da. Now, this man had fallen in love with me, but I didn't know it. And here I am pursuing a man that doesn't mean me any good. And this man is already here in the wings, and I friend zoned him because he wasn't what I thought, you know, that's something that was attracted to me. But later, when I began to ask God about it, because it was crazy, because when he ended up proposing to me, and people said, well, what made you say yes? It was a whole bunch of other things. But God began to deal with me and tell me that because I wasn't ready, he had to put blinders on my eyes as it pertained to him, so I wouldn't do what I had normally do and allow my flesh to make a decision with him, because that was my one weakness. I always been a church girl. I always did it, but I always had me a man, sugar. I always had me a man, you know. And so because that was my issue, God was like, I ain't gonna let you see this brother, you know what I'm saying, in the eyes that you know what I'm saying, that he's attracted to you, because this is the one. But I have to shield him in how you even view him, so when the time is right, your eyes are going to open. And listen, I'm telling you, and I know people's like, really? You would say you wouldn't attract to him? No. And let me tell you something now, honey, I think he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. But I am grateful that I didn't see him like that, because God had to work some things out in me. There was something, I was such a runner. I had such an orphan heart. I dealt with rejection just because of not being raised by my parents, you know, my biological parents. And so, you know, I often struggle with men. If I felt like they, you know, said something, it was, you know, tried to correct something, I couldn't understand it. I took it real personal. You can't do that in a marriage, because we should all be striving to do better. So yes, God had to blind the way I looked at him. And I tell some of these women, y'all better quit friend, you know, still arming these brothers, you know, because God will give you what you need for your future. And for, you know what I'm saying? Every marriage that comes together, we have a vision, and God gives us something that we're supposed to work on specifically in our marriage, right? He has to send the right person. Because had you married somebody else, you might not be doing married and young. But this is your purpose. This is the trajectory you all are on. And so a lot of times I say, listen, God, I'm thank God you shielded me, because I was still a fool. You know what I'm saying? And he had to work some things out. But when the time was right, those things fell out. And I saw him in a total different light. I would say, brother, did you always look this good? Brother, you used to spend the night at my house, honey. You know what I'm saying? I would have pulled up to his bumper. You understand what I'm saying? Because God knew how my flesh was. He couldn't let me see that brother like that.
It's good. That's good. Yeah.
And you know, attraction is different for women and men.
Yeah.
So, you know, men may have a totally different answer, and they approach it differently. Their body parts are different. They function differently. What turns them on is different. So for a woman, it is easier for a woman, even if she doesn't start off being attracted to a guy, to still find her way being attracted at some point, especially if she can at some point emotionally connect to him.
Yeah.
As long as at some point you do become attracted to that person, it's okay. I would never say marry somebody who you just like, I'm just not attracted to them. I'm just marrying them. You know, at some point the blinders come off and you should be attracted to them. But it's sometimes worth dating, even if you feel like at the beginning you're not attracted to them, if they're a good man.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think like understanding the science of that too, of learning what a man, who a man is and what a woman is, and how we work just physically.
Looks are not always primary for women.
Yeah, definitely.
He's good, and he's a great provider, and these other things. Women's emotions will connect, and they will become attracted to those things about them, and they'll love that man.
Yeah, love that man. Yes. So I want to welcome some more people in. Welcome Terry, Monique, Christy, Elizabeth, Key Common, Alicia, Kiva, Monique, Monica, Stephanie, Roseberry, Shadima, Lisa, Batrina, Nikki, Angelique, Brittany, Kai, all of you beautiful women that have said yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome as you start the journey of becoming a queen, okay? Queen, 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 queen. We have Brittany, Artisha, Talisha, Destiny, Trezara, Nikisha, Rotmi, all of these wonderful women that have said yes to their new season. So, you know what? We only have 4 more minutes left, but I really think we need to answer. What is your guys' opinions on online dating? We're getting a lot of questions in here of like, hey, my friends have done it and, you know, they've been successful in it, but I'm still kind of eerie with it. What is your guys' take on online dating?
Well, first of all, if you're eerie with it, I just wouldn't do it if you're eerie with it. I mean, you know, obviously it's probably not for everybody.
Right.
There's a lot more risk involved. I think you need to do a lot more background check.
Yeah.
And I would say if you are doing an online dating thing, you still shouldn't go into a relationship with somebody unless you know them face to face. You know, being online, I wouldn't necessarily encourage somebody who's online to go into some kind of verbalization of a committed relationship, because I haven't been around you. I haven't been around your friends. I haven't been around your family. I don't even know if you look the way this could be your cousin on the online, you know, profile.
Yeah,
you don't know. You watch Catfish too many times to figure out that people lie too much. People lie.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that winds up being very, you know, heartbreaking or whatever, if you be really attached to a lie, you know, and then find out this is not even it. So I would say, even if you are doing the my connection is messing up. Even if you are doing the online dating thing, I still think you need to find ways to meet in person and to build still that relationship in person before you make some commitments, and make sure you have a crew around. Don't meet nobody alone or anything. Like, it's just too, the world is just too dangerous for that right now. Folks come up missing, people wind up murdering you, you know, all kind of crazy stuff. So it needs to be in a place that is safe, a daytime environment where there's a lot of people, and you need to have some people with you when you go or whatever, you know. So if you are doing it, I don't necessarily always encourage it. It's just very risky. But there has been some successful people who've done it. I'm just not a specialty. I don't have the specialty of wisdom in the area of online dating.
Yeah, I agree. I really feel like if you do online dating, you really need to be very open. You don't need to do it by yourself. You need to include people into the process and talk those things through. I know for Jamal and I, we met on Facebook, but even with that, like a month after, you know, we started communicating, we actually saw each other. So,
and I remember the process. There was some face to face. There was, you know, you coming in his environment, in his, you know, at a conference with people, you know, and so it was and then involving, you know, his pastors at the time, you know, like, so there was a shield of protection around the whole journey of it. And some people, they go off these isolated dating scenes online, and it's just them, and they don't tell nobody and stuff, and then they meet up somewhere by themselves, and you know, and all kind of, you know, things can happen. So that can be unsafe. So you just got to take a lot more precaution if you're going to do that.
Yeah. Okay, you guys. So we're gonna keep up the website and everything for you guys to register, because right now you guys are literally breaking the internet of our webpage because of everybody who's wanting to register. So
that's a good problem.
Yeah,
that is a good problem.
For Jesus, right? For Jesus. So we're going to keep the fast action bonuses up and available for you guys to be able to access. And you know what? If you guys have like 3 more minutes, I really feel like we can hit lust, because a lot of women are saying that they're in a relationship with someone and they are still struggling with lust and having sex, and they're putting up boundaries, but it's not working. And then another woman also stated that before she married her now husband, they were sexually active. So, like, do you believe that, you know, sex you know, before marriage can ultimately affect your like current marriage in a negative way? I know that's 2 questions in one, but I mean, we can just hit the whole list.
I like to answer that, you know, someone who had a child before I was married, and I saw how I went down a downward spiral. And like I said, I was with this guy for 5 years, and here we are fighting and police calling and not, you know what I'm saying? And we had, it was never any type of violence before, you know, because that's the type of stuff flesh should do. It makes you crazy. Yeah. And I said, this went so wrong till I can't do this like this no more. You know what I mean? And so even those nights when I was on fire, I had to say, listen, fam, on fire, got you something, you gonna have it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful for her. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is I know the repercussions, and I know what it did to a child too, because I put a child in a situation without having a husband. So I had already put her in a space where she would deal with rejection at a young age. And I can't put that on him. That was me. You know what I'm saying? I put, you know, every time you lay down, you take the chance. I don't care how much precaution. I don't care how much birth control. I don't care how many condoms you use, honey, because I had it all. You understand what I'm saying? When that thing broke forth, it broke forth. And you know, and so for me, I said, I can't do this no more. You know what I'm saying? So flesh, I had to literally look into myself and tell now listen, when you let your flesh rule, it turned out real bad. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm thankful, I'm grateful. And God shows me over and over and over why he had to allow it to happen. However, I said then, I got to do something different. And every time I was struggling, I had to do something different. Now, I am also grateful. My husband proposed to me, and 2 weeks later, he moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma to get his master's. And I said, God, I thank you. Listen, because I would have pulled up to his bumper. Okay.
That's real.
You wouldn't have to fight me for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you what's the truth. You know what I'm just telling you what the truth is. You know, and that's just the truth. But every time I said, when I made flesh decisions, how did it leave me in shambles? How was I sitting there crying? Because one thing about it, God never took my conviction, which was crazy. I would get out of bed with my baby's father and go pay my tithes at church on Sunday. I mean, it was crazy. Like, and I would sit there and be weeping like, God, what is wrong with me? Like, you know, I would be like, God, I would sit in church just looking slow, you know what I'm saying? And like, why put yourself through those things when you got to get to a place where you tell that flesh to sit down. I have been there, done that. Listen, I promise you, it's going to just get you a whole lot of heartache and a whole lot of trouble. And get yourself prepared for when that brother do come. Because listen, that flesh will rise up. And I'm not going to say it because we're married women. And I know how people say, oh, well, y'all married. You go to bed with biceps and triceps. You can't tell me, yes, I can, honey, because I have been there and I've done it wrong. And I turn around and did it right. You know what I'm saying? And I am thankful, but I think had I not done that and took that step, I don't think some of those things that happened in my marriage now would have survived. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Had I done it the way I had always done it before. If you want a different result, you got to do something different. And you got to tell this flesh. But this is the thing. When people get to telling me that lets me know that flesh is eating the war. It is winning the war. You know, with their spirit, man, that you're not doing the things that you need to do to fight it. You know what I'm saying? And so when we say that, all you thinking about is how hot you are. You ain't got time to be worrying about God and praying and stuff. You know what I mean? So you telling me you ain't even got nowhere where you can fight. You got to have a way you can fight. Only way you can fight this flesh is in the word of God. Only way.
Yeah.
And I believe what she said, you sow in the flesh, you will reap in the flesh. You know, there's a scripture that just says flee fornication. Sometimes you just have to cut it off. You're not strong enough to be in the same environment, you know. So when people are still trying to put up boundaries and still trying to have that attachment, it's just going to set up a ways for it to keep happening over and over. You wind up in the cycle, and the soul tie gets stronger and stronger, and it's harder to break away from it. And yes, I do think that God is a God of restoration. So if someone's married who already did it, God can restore. But yes, I do think that having sex before marriage can sow into the marriage, and what it can sow is distrust. See, when people come together and they demons come together to do they dirt, they're not thinking about that. But when you get into the marriage and you have a moment of conflict or an argument or something happens, you start to raise question because you realize, okay, this person caused their standards and their values to come down with me. So I wonder if they're doing it with someone else, you know. And so those questions, the enemy will start plaguing on your memory and on what happened, and start rehearsing stuff in you. And so it can sow seeds of distrust already in the marriage, even before it ever starts, you know. And so of course the reverse is true, which is that if you stay pure, you stay holy during your marriage, then that can sow seeds of trust between both partners, because you have shown yourself to be someone who can be disciplined, who can be self-disciplined with your morals, your values, and you've put them on display even in the times of maybe possible temptation. So I don't think it's a good thing. I think if somebody is involved and they can't stop, then they need to cut the relationship off. As a matter of fact, you can't even really process right when you're in a soul tie. So you don't even know if that person is for you. You're probably in love, which again, love doesn't mean that that's the person for you and that you're going to know how to do marriage. And so you need to even take a step back to even see if this is a relationship even worth trying to preserve or even trying to take into the future. Because a lot of times it's really not, as you know, people's flesh is talking and that carnality is coming out. And so you can't really be objective when you're sleeping with somebody.
That's very good. That's very good. And I know that it's getting late too. So if you ladies have to jump off, that's completely fine. But you know, those were great answers, because I know that there's like a question in here where she's asking about saying that they want to do it right. But I really think, just to put together what was just shared, is that, you know what, your flesh has to die, and you have to be willing to say, okay, look at the relationship